Chapter 34. Galatia's temper had calmed down even further with more conversation and wasn't as hostile to the point of throwing a super-strength punch at the first sight of me. This really was a relief for me, as getting punched with enough strength to cause a sonic boom, and with your body ragdolling across the land was never fun, even if you had the durability to not be harmed by the blow. Finally, though, Diana came out of her office and led us into her personal Zeta teleporter in the back section of the embassy. "Jake, with you being my protege, I give you permission to use this Zeta teleporter. Rather than having to go down the streets and have to announce yourself," Wonder Woman said, and I thanked her for basically giving me the key to her home. "It's no problem at all. If anything, maybe you should kit out a room for yourself here and make it official," she muttered, and I pretended not to notice, as living with Wonder Woman and Galatea would feel weird honestly. Plus, having teleporters literally meant I could easily get to this place within moments of receiving a phone call or text. "Ah yes, actually with my ability I need to get a League cell phone or something for work," I said, realizing that I could actually call people when I retracted my holo features. "I will send a notice to Batman to get one of the League wrist computers to you if that's alright. I prefer to not carry one around as they distract me. As well as having no room for such a thing," she said before gesturing to the lightly armored leotard she was wearing that was flush to her body with no pockets for such stuff, and only a small little thing for her whip to snag onto. Whereas Batman had a tiny little tool in his tool belt for most situations, most female heroes thought it was just a fantastic idea to fight crime in what amounted to being something a stripper would wear during a pole dance. And I will never verbally complain at the blessing they shared with the world. So, what cartel will we be hitting, and what kind of resistance can we expect?" I asked as Wonder Woman was flying our helicopter over the jungles of Colombia in the direction of the target of interest. "We will be breaking into a Los Palos Hermanos cartel mega lab, and as for what kind of resistance they will put up, reports indicate that with them recently getting intergang alien weapons that they have become a threat the Colombian officials can no longer ignore," she said with obvious distaste, and I realized the only reason we were welcomed into the country was that the native government not only had no control over the cartel, but they were obviously terrified of an armed uprising from the outrageously wealthy group. Doesn't matter how hard the Justice League works. Even if they can cut down the murder rate in an area by more than half with their mere presence in the city, but the drug game never ends. It's all about the money, and the cartels with all that money could buy the lives of all the land politicians by hiring the likes of Deathstroke and other super assassins if the government pressured them too hard. "Alright, any details about the head honchos we need to capture?" I asked the last pressing question, and even Galatea stopped watching out the window to listen to our main mission objective other than putting down the idiots wielding intergang laser weapons and crap, so they didn't disintegrate the soldiers coming to arrest and interrogate the people we capture. They will be the ones in clean clothes and not smell terribly, after spending weeks in the jungle. Wonder Woman partly joked, earning a snigger from me before I realized she was being quite literal at the same time. A couple hours later our somewhat monotonous flight over the jungle was broken as Wonder Woman jerked the military chopper to side, smashing my resting form into the side of the chopper at the abrupt evasive maneuver, and I saw the white streak of exhaust as a fucking tracking surface-to-air missile attempted to blow up our helicopter. "Lord, Galatea, destroy the missile launchers," Wonder Woman ordered as she flipped a switch, and I could hear the door to the helicopter sliding open behind us. Wordlessly, me and Galatea did just that. We came down like the wrath of God, using our super speed to smash into the anti-air missile battery systems mounted on large trucks, and within not even a moment, whether it was brute strength or my tiny ballas and Galatea's heat vision cutting off the barrels of the missile systems, the dozen or so weapon systems were dealt with, and a few of the cartel people may have died due to munitions going off. But I swear it wasn't our fault. How the hell could I predict some dumbass would decide to throw a grenade at me when I was calmly crushing the last tube of the missile launcher and all the other missiles going off in a daisy chain of explosions? The couple dozen surface-to-air missiles blowing up like a daisy chain of landmines going off didn't even burn my League-issue Haori outfit built by the League, let alone hurt me. "Well, that's not going to look good," I muttered wryly, seeing the line of burning jungle before I saw Galatea having decided to go deeper into the encampment before a massive tornado-like solid cloud grabbed her out of the air and slammed her into the ground like that time Wonder Woman gave her a primary lotus from Naruto. "Who the hell uses aerokinesis in the middle of South America?" I grumbled as I took off in a sonido to see who the hell was manhandling my eye candy. But lo and behold, as I all but teleported into the scene, I saw another scantily clad woman wearing a tight dress with a low-cut top that all but bared her breast, standing over Galatea with a glowing green crystal on hand. The middle of the fucking rainforest in South America, and a 2-bit drug runner has some kryptonite. Man, being a Kryptonian fucking sucks. I said loudly, making the woman's eyes snap to me to only be met with a condensed purple balla blasting her off the weakened form of Galatea. But through the smoke's smaller arm, a waist-sized tornado blew aside the debris as the woman stood back up and sensually spoke with a thick Spanish accent that was liquid sex to the ears. Darling, if you knew who I was then you would know why I carry this little joy. You are Encantadora. The League thought you went straight, after the assassination attempt you pulled on Superman repented? Wonder Woman spoke harshly as she landed behind me with two men held within each of her hands that she roughly threw to the ground. Now as I took in the relaxed woman, I saw her as part of Superman's gallery and thus a greater threat than for example one of Batman's. Sour puss. Yeah, Encantadora has been a bad girl, frankly. I want the finer things in life and schmoozing up to some sap to do business with me when I can merely mind control them or just sell a few $1 million worth of drugs in a single teleport. The vixen then shrugged with her large breasts barely held up by her dress bouncing in their meager containment. Selling fake kryptonite to those insane villains was too hot a business, so I moved into drugs. Now you boya, why don't you put Wonder Thong into the ground, and I will sit on your face tonight. She offered, and my mind was assailed with a sweet and sickly scent that made me retch. Then my blood burned red hot as I realized something when I staggered in place. Bitch. You just attempted to mind control me. I said slowly as the fully entirety of my spiritual pressure rushed out of me and only Wonder Woman was able to keep her back straight as the air vibrated beyond a visual mirage with literal air pockets exploding from the pressure making sparks. I'm going to make sure you cannot walk again. Mind controllers don't deserve that privilege. I whispered with my voice only reaching her as I smothered her power of the winds from her, with my domain of the very winds.